That means you bought 2 auto businesses and 2 care home facilities in the span of 3 years.
Yes. Yeah.
That is ridiculous.
That is crazy. I never even thought that I would be able to say that I've reached $1 million. Like, we now have a total of maybe a little bit over $12 million in worth of small businesses.
But Kay, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Josh.
So real quick, what is your background? And then how did you get into buying businesses?
My background, I'm an immigrant from Laos. I've been here, I moved here when I was 12 years old. And then I went to school for nursing. I am a mom of 3, and I have a golden doodle. Yes, so we have 4 kids total.
And you went from being an RN, which is a lot of people's kind of dream job, to then leaving the most practical, safe, secure dream job of being a nurse into now owning 4 businesses. What sparked the entrepreneurship journey? So what are the businesses that you own right now?
Actually, yes, I enjoy being a nurse. I think I was just getting burnt out during COVID, honestly.
Okay.
So I quit my job and dove in full-time doing businesses with my husband. Our first business was auto registration services. Like, I didn't even know what kind of business it was or how to do it. I did not have a background in auto registration. But the good thing was the owner was really willing to teach everything that we need for the business. So it made it a little bit easy to learn something that we didn't have a background in.
Okay, so what was that conversation when you said, hey, honey, I want to quit being a nurse? Or I guess at this point, did you not quit being a nurse? How many businesses did you have before you quit your day job?
Yeah, no, so he actually quit his job first. And I just want to make sure, like, worst case scenario, we were still going to have my income to support our family. We have 3 kids, right? If that was to go south, what do we do?
Yeah.
So I kept my job for a few more months until I realized, you know what, we have to go in full time.
Okay.
So we both quit our job and started focusing on the business.
I want the timeline between what year did you buy your first business? No, actually, okay, hold on. Let's break down, what year did you become a nurse?
2014.
Okay, 2014, you were a nurse. Mm-hmm. And then what year did you buy your first business?
2020.
Okay, so it
that
took
was
you
during
6
COVID.
years. Mm-hmm. During middle of COVID.
Yeah, middle of COVID, exactly. Like,
All right.
The best time to buy a business where everything else was shut down.
Yeah.
So
Interesting. Okay. But you bought a car registration service. Obviously, everyone still needs to register their car, and car sales are booming during COVID.
I don't know if it was booming, but I think we got lucky during that time because the DMV actually shut down. So everybody was coming to offices like us to get their car registered. Because either way, they're going to hit you with a late fee. So they're like, we have to register our car. Otherwise, they can't drive.
Okay. So
Yes.
2020, you bought the car registration service. Mm-hmm. And then you also own a towing company. What year did you buy that one?
2021.
Okay. So the year
Yeah.
after, you bought the towing company. And then when did the care home come into play?
2021.
So that
it was
same
back
year,
to
you
back.
bought 2 businesses.
Yes.
And now, have you closed on this last
The
one?
last one, we're still waiting for the last piece of the puzzle, which is
Okay.
the license.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could be any day now. We're
All
just
right.
waiting for the state to just give me the stamp for the license and we can close.
So by the time this episode is released, which is probably in a couple weeks, then fingers crossed,
Yes.
knock on wood for you,
Yeah.
that you'll have your second care home close. And that one's interesting because you bought that one with creative financing, meaning no banks.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is creative finance? What is seller finance? And why is it so powerful?
Creative financing is there's many ways to purchase something. The traditional way, you'll use a bank. You go to the bank and ask, Mr. Bank, can I borrow some money? And then you put a down payment. But creative financing could be you ask the seller to be the bank. Mm-hmm. So there's no banks involved and you just make the payments to the seller. Mm-hmm. Or you could do a little bit of both. If the seller wants a higher down payment, you will then utilize the bank for that down payment, and then you'll make 2 payments to the seller and to the bank.
And so give me an example, say for that towing business that you bought, and you had that seller carry, 1.2 million, something like that? What do the payment structures look like? Is there a balloon? How long are those terms?
We did do a balloon. Typically, we did 2-year balloon because we will eventually have to get the bank at that point. And the banks typically want 2 years of taxes.
Yeah.
So we usually structure it that way, but then we also have a backup plan where if we need to extend, we have the option to do that.
Yeah.
So we did just the total amount divided by there was many ways. So we divided by the amount of months left, but then when that numbers didn't make sense because that would eat up all of our cash flow, we just set up a numbers that made sense for both of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To where you would still have some profit from the business, he would make some money, and then in 2 years, obviously, he would then get the rest to them.
Yes. Yeah.
So now my question is, those are very different industries. You actually got started in very different industries. How did you pick your first business to buy?
We didn't have a guidelines. We just knew we were going to pick something essential and recession proof. Worst case scenario, if they made it through 2008, they're going to make it for another 10 years. That's just how we choose the business. Also, something that is simple to do, but not easy. So it's not like an electrical or a surgical where you have to go get a license to do the work.
Okay. I have never heard of a car registration service. I didn't even realize that there was a private business to do that. I just thought it was, you just do the DMV thing and that's it. How does that business even work? How does it make money?
You come into us and you have the same paperwork that you would submit to the DMV.
Yeah.
We would just do all the paperwork for you. We charge whatever the DMV needs to register your car plus our service fee. Paying for time, paying for speed, really.
So it's faster.
Faster. Like we probably get you out the door within 5 to 10 minutes.
Wow.
There are some times where it's a little bit more complicated transactions that probably may take 20 to 30 minutes, but majority of it just to register the car, like normally.
Okay. And then what is the spread on that? If the car registration costs 600 to, what is that, like 300 to maybe $600 now, I'm sure there's margin there for you.
We have a flat fees for registration. Yeah. So most of the fees do go to the DMV. Our service is like very small, but it's just the numbers, right?
And then how are you getting customers?
Huh?
How are you getting, if I've never heard about it, like how do you get customers?
Actually, because this has been around for 38 years when we took over, so a lot of people already know her, so it's more of the local names around the area, so that's one. And two, when you search DMV, we actually show up. Yeah, because it's the same services that we provide, except driver's license. We can't provide driver's license.
Otherwise, I guess you're doing fake IDs.
Yeah, exactly. It's the fake IDs. The government does not want us to start making fake IDs. Apparently, there's people out there that would do that.
Okay, that is fair.
Yeah.
And then for that business, what did you buy it for? And I guess like how much revenue does that even generate?
So we bought that one for $475,000. We put 10% down. We used some of our savings and we borrow from family. So if my family's listening, so thank you so much for your support. We made about $200,000 that year. But I think it was just a little bit inflated because, again, it was during COVID. All the DMV offices were closed. So we just had an influx of customers, traffic. Yeah. So we made a lot more than typical.
So then it was 10% down for the business. And then was the rest funded through an SBA loan?
Yes. Yeah, we used SBA loan on that one. The seller, I still remember. So the seller did carry about $50,000. Seller carry or a seller note. Okay. So we paid the bank and we also pay the owner.
Okay. And then when it's all said and done, like how much is it cash flow per month?
Per month, about $22,000 per month.
That's what?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yes, and that would be like my favorite just because this business, when you close your office, you're done. No one's going to call you for whatever. It's an easy business. You just know how to register the car and it's an office job.
Congratulations. Now my question is, why did you go from this model that you now have, like you got down, why not do more of those in a different city? Why did you go and then buy a towing business?
We thought about that. For us at that time, it was faster to put our money into an already cash flowing versus starting a new location where you're going to have to build up clienteles, what is it called? The traffic. So it's going to take some time. It's going to be still considered as a startup to where I can put another down payment for another business and you get the cash flow that much quicker.
So this car registration business was almost like a unicorn.
Yes. Yeah. It's highly sought after, actually, this type, because it's almost semi-absentee.
How did you find it?
We just Google it, businesses for sale near me. Yeah. And we just started searching. And we look at it every day. We just go through pages and see what we're interested in.
How long did it take you from, you're like, hey babe, let's buy a business, to I found this one, let's call her up?
I didn't find that one. My husband did. He
Okay.
was the one, like I said, like I think he is the one who got me into the business. Obviously,
Okay.
I was busy being a nurse and taking care of people and all of that. And he was just
Yeah.
looking at it. And he said, hey, you know what? We've been thinking about buying a business. Actually, laundromat is what we were originally was looking into buying. So when we saw this one, and he was like, okay, this would be a good business to be in. It's been operating for the last 30 something years.
Yeah.
We can do it. And okay, let's just try it. Let's
Okay.
just see where that took us. So that's where, I don't know, that's where we figured it out. We
Yeah.
didn't figure it out. We said, hey, you know what? Let's just buy this business and see where that's going to go. And just knowing, I think we spent a lot of time looking at the P&Ls, like
Yeah.
the numbers. There was a lot of cash in there that it didn't make sense. So we were based on our assumption. I'm like, there's got to be more cash somewhere in here.
Yeah.
Right? There's more meat on a bone than it really is on taxes. I think like a lot of small business owners, typically like their financials are all
Yeah.
over the places. We saw that there was a potential that business was making more than what was reported. So we just like bet on it. And
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. And then
natural.
you went into the towing business. Like, how did that situation happen?
I figured towing is an essential business, right? It'll always be there. What
Yeah.
could go wrong? It's been around, and actually it's roadside assistant, AAA.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, and AAA has been around for 100 years, over
Yeah.
100 years. So it's going to be needed service. So that was low risk for us. To me, that seems to be the safe bet to go.
So then what did you buy that for, and what does that one generate?
And that one, we bought it for $1.6 million.
Okay.
Yeah, we put $250,000 down.
Okay.
And the seller carry the rest. So it's a seller carry.
Seller
finance.
So you creative finance, seller finance, that one. Was that your first seller finance? No, well, I guess they carried
Sort
first
of,
one.
yeah. The first one, I guess you can say that's creative as well, because
Yeah.
the seller did end up carrying about $50,000.
Okay.
And then the second one, we didn't know what we were doing. We just asked. We literally, hey, if you don't want to use a bank, then could you just be seller finance? Can you just carry the notes and we'll make a payments to you?
Wait, how did that conversation go? Like, break down. How did you pitch it? Were you already in, for context for the viewers, you are now in Pace Morby's creative finance course, but were you in that course then?
No.
So you've done 2 creative financing deals before you were ever in the course.
Yeah, I guess we didn't know what the hell we were doing, but we were just doing it, like just figuring out as we go.
Yeah.
We thought we were going to end up using another bank to finance the deal, but I think the seller was just really motivated. So the pace that we were going so fast that I know if we used a bank, it was going to take longer.
Yeah.
So we just ended up, and he was super motivated. So we didn't even bother to send it to the bank for evaluation.
So break down the conversation, how you got someone to seller finance $1.4 million for you.
To me, it's all about finding that person's pain. What do they need? I believe in a win situation.
Yeah.
Always a win situation. So for them, it was just to get out of the business. Like that person just really wasn't. He was just taking over his dad's business.
Yeah.
And he wanted to do something else, like ASAP. So it didn't take a lot of convincing for that one, honestly.
Okay.
We just said, hey, we're just going to upgrade you to the bank. You'll become the bank and we'll just make the payments to you. It was simple as that. I almost want to say we got lucky.
So you bought it for 1.6. How much revenue does that one generate a year?
That one, $400,000 per year.
And then what's the cash flow on that?
Oh, sorry. That is a cash flow. 3.2 was the revenue. $3.2 million in revenue.
Okay, I'm stuck here, Kay. How does someone want out of a business that makes almost $500,000 in profit a year? Is it that much headache?
Yes. It's not easy, right?
Yeah.
Any business, I can't say that, oh, yeah, it's easy. Everybody can do it. Anyone can do it. It's just you do it.
Yeah.
The work. You got to put in the work. So it was a lot of work. I'm not going to lie.
And I'm guessing roadside assistance are you now hiring almost other towing companies to fulfill all those requests for you? Is that kind of like a general contractor sub?
The way that one is set up, because we're contracted with AAA,
Yeah.
they just give you a grid and a certain amount of calls. So we have a certain amount of trucks, 16 towing trucks.
Okay.
So so you're only on the grid already anyways. So we have enough trucks to service
Okay.
just the grid.
And then do you have a full-time manager who manages that business for you?
Yes. Yeah.
So you're basically absentee owner on that.
No, it's still very hands-on. We actually brought in a partner because it's a little bit further away from us, like about two hours away.
Okay.
And we just had to use like a partner, the manager has to have a skin in the game.
Okay. Yeah. And then for the next two businesses, you finally then leaned on your healthcare background to go into residential assisted living housing. What made that transition? Why not? You have two great cash flowing businesses. Why not just stay on the auto side? Why are you now going back to the healthcare side?
Actually, every day that I go to work, I just miss being a nurse.
Okay.
I would tell my husband, I said, you know what? I want to go maybe pick up like one shift as a nurse. I just miss being a nurse. They go, yeah, go ahead, be a nurse. Go work for somebody else. I'm like, yeah, that sounds, yeah, okay, not as interesting to be working for somebody else. But I still miss that. Like I miss clocking in and talking to my patients and just being able to know that I took care of somebody and made them feel better. So I miss that feeling. So when we continued to look for another business to buy, and when we saw assisted living, that was it for us. So for me, more or less. So
what does the care home portfolio look like right now?
The care home before they look like?
No, what does your portfolio look like?
Before the care home.
Oh, no.
So I have the auto registration, towing, and the assisted living, all three together. I have total 4.
Okay.
So.
And there's 2 assisted living facilities. Yes.
Yes, there are 2 total assisted livings.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how many residents are those?
The first assisted living was 15 beds facility, so we have 15 residents.
And then the second one would be?
It's going to be 65.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to have 65 residents, so total we'll have 65 plus 15 is what? 80?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we will have 80 residents.
And if I'm doing my timeline right, that means you bought 2 auto businesses and 2 care home facilities in the span of 3 years.
Yes. Yeah.
That is ridiculous.
That is crazy. I never even thought that I would be able to say that I've reached $1 million. Like we now have a total of maybe a little bit over $12 million in worth of small businesses.
That's crazy.
That is still so crazy for me to say that. That's crazy.
And you seller finance basically all of them, yes?
Creative financing, yes, yeah. Some banks, some seller carry.
Okay, so walk me through, if someone watching this or me wants to be the next Kay in 3 to 5 years, what is your go-to script? How are you calling businesses to figure out their pain points and see if they're even open to creative financing?
I don't really have a script. I just know that a lot of baby boomers are retiring.
Yeah.
So again, and I tend to look for businesses that have been around for at least 10 years.
Okay.
And almost assume that person wants to retire.
Okay.
And honestly, we use a bank. They're going to have to pay taxes on top of that.
Yeah.
And then it'll just sit in their account. Or you can become the bank for $1 million. So you now have a bank of $1 million and somebody's making you payments every month. It's just understanding what they're going through. I've had one that he had medical issues.
Okay.
And just to help speed the process so that they can be with their. So it's about finding the pain point, finding that pain point and see how you can help them with that.
Okay. And the first 2, this was before you were in Pace Morby's group. And we'll get into what you've learned since Pace's course now. But how did you that was an idea that you just threw out. How did you then execute? Did you find someone else who's done this before? Was it another business broker who said, hey, yeah, you could do this, here's how? Like, how did you put the pieces together?
I still look back and I'm like, what the hell did we just do? We still don't know what we're doing, actually.
Yeah.
We're literally just figuring it out. After one bank says no, we go to the next one. I don't think we had enough time to sit and think about all the possibilities, all the pros and cons. We just did it.
Yeah.
But if I think I had more time to analyze the deal, I probably wouldn't do it. Because then you're going to think, oh my God, what if this? There's a lot of what ifs. I don't think I had a lot of time thinking about what ifs. We were working every day, just continue on our business, and we didn't really think about, or we didn't take too long to analyze the deal. I think I think that's the biggest part about buying a business or doing something you've never done before. If you keep just sitting there and think about all the pros and cons and what ifs and what if I fail, that's the biggest thing, then you're never going to do it.
Very true.
Yeah.
The thing I like to think about is you only solve the problem that's right in front of you.
Yes.
Not the one that's 10 steps in front of you. Know that could happen, and you have whether it be a contingency budget and or a game plan, but just know that there's a million different what ifs, and some of those could never happen. So just solve that next one.
Right. So the worst thing, like I said, the worst thing that could happen is you drop dead and die, really. But this is doing business. Like you're going to figure it out. Like things will always fall into place. I think we look at the problems way ahead of the time, but just take it day by day in front of you and what's not. Take the problem for what it is and not what it's not. I'm still working on that. Sometimes when I deal with problem, oh my God, it's going to be so bad. Like what the hell? Maybe I made a mistake for doing this. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, oh, okay, that wasn't that bad. And then we go through that cycle again. And you'll always figure it out. When you set your mind that, you know what, failure is not an option, then you're not going to fail. And it's not so much of failing. It's you're going to make mistakes. Failing is when you stop, as long as you keep going.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. There's a million different steps up to the top of the mountain. All right. And then now, since then, how long ago did you join, or how long have you been in Pace Morby's course now?
I joined since April.
Okay.
So what is that? 5 months?
So you
6 months? Mm-hmm.
At that point, you've now creative financed 3 businesses before you ever bought the course.
Yes. Yeah, technically. Yeah.
So you're backwards than most people. Most people buy the course, buy too many courses before they ever take action. You now did 3 deals before you ever then bought the educational product. Why did you feel like you needed the educational product at that point?
So Pace's program was more for the real estate, and I wanted to invest in real estate. So he was mainly focusing on that, and I have no experience in real estate.
Okay.
I only knew the business, and we have higher cash flow, right?
Yeah.
So that gave us the opportunity to propel forward much quicker. So we have to find a place that we can park the money in the real assets and properties. And that's why I joined the course. Yeah, it was more for investing in real estate.
So it's more so the nuances of creative financing as it applies to real estate.
Yes.
Okay, so that is a different asset class, it's a different business side.
It is.
And what have been your major takeaways now from the course?
It's the power of proximity and the power of community.
Yeah.
Like his program, there's a lot of us, all the leaders are helping the newbies. We work as a group, and it helps. It's go-giving. I'm like, what do you mean go-giving? Go-giver. We call ourselves go-givers. And I didn't understand that concept until I joined his course. That means if I help you, like you're doing good and we're working together, is collaboration over competition.
Yep.
I think that's a huge thing. Even I apply that to small businesses. I see smaller businesses, we think that we're competition, but we're really not.
Yeah.
When you collaborate, you can grow much quicker. So that's what I learned from, really, that's a big takeaway for me.
Yeah, and so then how have you, I guess, what things have you gave to other people, and have you had something then given back to you as a result of being in this course in the last 4 or 5 months?
Like you said, like my background was the business acquisitions. So Pace is launching also business acquisitions as part of his course.
I did see that.
Yes, as part of it. And you don't even have to pay additional. So that's so amazing. So all the students who want to get into the business buying, and especially the assisted living, I'm the gal. So I'm the assisted living gal. So I give a lot of free hours, just hopping on the call, just guiding through people, reading P&Ls. How do we give offers? I dissect the deal with his students.
Yeah.
So just helping others understand this business and going like a hand holding.
Okay, so you moved into assisted living. Let's dive into that for a little bit now. You moved into that because obviously you have a healthcare background, and that's been a passion of yours. It seems like the first 2 businesses were just proof of concept that you can creative finance something, some decent cash flow, and now you're combining that, the business side, with your healthcare background. Why are you so bullish on assisted living?
I just want to say, like, for the assisted living, you just lead with your heart. Like, you lead with your heart and you treat the people right. It's a really hard business. And I don't think not everyone are successful in assisted living. I'm not going to lie. And it's so hard to manage people, but then not only the care, but then the family, all of those pieces. If your heart is not in the right place, it's going to be really hard. You're really going to want to get out of it, honestly. Sometimes I remind myself why I do it.
And from our conversations, I know that you take some of the more,
higher needs, higher acuity, meaning this, yes, the higher need or higher acuities. I do, and I don't know why. I feel like once I meet with the family and you can see the pain that they're going through, and I feel responsible that I should do something and everything to help this person. A lot of families never been through this before. What is this dementia thing? It's so hard, and just to be a daughter, but also a caretaker, or a wife and a caretaker. Like that's so hard. And you don't understand it. The way they talk to each other continue to be like the family kind of conversation.
Yeah.
But with somebody with dementia, you really can't talk to them the same way. Honey, I told you don't do this. But they can't understand that. And so it caused a lot of agitation. So for me, I feel like the need, the help, and I feel like I could help them.
Okay. So in terms of the range of care that you can give, there's like adult daycare, which is just entertaining during the day and giving them a social outlet, to obviously very high needs patients. You then scale towards the high needs patients, and that's probably just because there's less people who are willing to take on those types of patients or residents, right?
Absolutely. Yes, that's very true. And even now I get referrals from other owners because they know that I would take them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It's hard to find placement, and they're going to be a difficult case, and the family's going to be jumping around from one place to another. That really breaks my heart.
Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine moving into a facility and they said, "Oh, I can't care for your loved one. They need a higher level of care." And then they hop from one to another. And every time that when the residents with dementia move from one place to another, they tend to decline. And that's what they call trauma transfer, or transfer trauma. Every time they get transfer, they just decline. So I tried to reduce some of that, and I made sure that I really do a thorough assessment so that I know I can provide that care.
And for those who don't know why a business like this exists, why is a facility like this better than, say, having a nurse come into the house?
I think the biggest thing is the finance, right? Hiring a nurse, it's going to be a lot more than a care home. Another thing on top of that, they need 24-hour care. So the 24-hour care for a nurse, I don't even know how much that would be. But even they do have a care home when somebody do have enough budget to do that.
Yeah.
You're looking at about $20,000 to $30,000 per month for a 24-hour care.
Okay.
And then if you think about putting somebody into assisted living, your average is about $6,000. And that sounds still really expensive if you really think about it, right? $6,000. But if you divide that by 30 days or 24 hours, you're now like, what, $8, $7 to $8 per hour, plus care, plus food. So it's more reasonable. And like I said, people think that, oh my gosh, they're making all this money, but who's going to do this job, right? Who's going to do this job is much needed for a mom and pop, me and my husband, versus big box facilities or hedge funds, right? Because those would just be numbers to them. But this is someone with a heart that takes care of their loved ones.
So how are you now also going and seller financing these facilities? Are you just calling up different facilities in the area and just saying, hey, do you have any interest in selling now or in the next little bit?
Yeah, we're always looking online, actually. But there's better ways to do it. I haven't done the cold calling. There's other ways you can look up facilities around you, and you can call the owner and see if they're open to selling or looking to sell or looking to retire soon. You can do it that way. But so far, the one that I have done been just through Biz Buy Sell.
Okay.
And then we contact the broker and
that's it.
And that's it, yeah. And yeah, there's the pros and cons. If you're dealing with a broker, sometimes you may have to go through that hurdle about pitching creative financing, because this is not so common. Actually, it is more common than people think.
Yeah.
But your broker is going to be the gatekeeper. Sometimes they will be the gatekeeper, like, oh no, the seller doesn't want seller finance, blah, 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 right? They didn't even ask yet. They haven't even present the deal or present the offer.
Yeah.
So just getting over that hurdle, you just got to make sure that the broker is going to get paid regardless of us going through creative financing or the bank. They will still be paid. So they will still be compensated. They're more willing to present the offer.
And then how competitive was it to buy these businesses?
Assisted living is not competitive. Like I said, I wouldn't say an absentee. There will never be an absentee run business. So not only is it a hard business, like there's not a lot of buyers already buying businesses. This is a higher barrier to entry. You got all the red tapes, all the regulations, staffing. It's a harder business to operate, I would say. So that makes it a little less competitive.
What about for the auto sides?
The auto,
were you competing against other people?
I was, yes. So why we were able to buy that, I think because we built the rapport. It's all about building that rapport with the sellers. When they see that you are going to take care of their business, you're going to carry their legacy.
Yeah.
And that's why we kept pretty much all of the names that we have purchased, the deals. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
This is a lot of fun. I want to move into kind of the last call, the final questions. I guess now that you have bought $12 million in business in the last 3 years, what's the goal now?
What's the goal? I don't have a number, but I should. I said, you know what? My short-term goal would hit the 100 beds.
Okay.
And then from there, like I said, my goal, if I can, I want to reach as many seniors as I can to provide that quality care.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot more needs, and maybe even share or partner up with people, or maybe even do a course that somebody can get in the right people, putting the right people to do this, because me alone can't do it alone.
Okay.
Right? We want other smaller business owners to do the same thing rather than handing it off to like big hedge funds and big investors that won't care for these seniors.
Very true. All right, and then the last call, so the last question that I ask every single guest is I want to say, what is the personal finance note, what is the dumbest purchase you've ever made or a purchase that you regret?
Has that been like business or anything?
Anything at all.
Let me see. I don't know. I don't buy a lot of things. Like I don't.
But even in your 20s, you didn't splurge on something or get tricked into something and it just totally just blew up on you?
No, I've never been a buyer. Like I don't buy stuff. Like I think I get satisfaction or adrenaline or like the good feeling when I, like for the business part, I would splurge. Like you're like, oh, okay, $8 million. Sure, let's buy that business. But then when I'm trying to buy other things, I'm like, do I need it or do I want it? Is it a need or is it a want? So I've never been like a buyer. But
then on the flip side, what's the best purchase you've ever made?
My first assisted living.
Out of all the businesses, that first one is your favorite.
Yeah, and
Why?
I think that puts me into my right path. I find my place. So
Okay, that's
how
fair.
it helped me.
Answer.
Yeah, so I found my place.
Okay, I like it. The last thing is, can someone help you? What are you looking for right now? How can someone add value to you?
Ooh, that's a hard part. Yeah, that's a hard part. I don't know. How can somebody add value to me?
Yeah.
That one? Oh man, I don't know. This one I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to do one more clip. If you can summarize how someone can buy a business in 60 seconds, what would you say they should do?
Buying a business in 60 seconds, I would Google, you can just Google businesses to buy near me and contact the broker.
Okay.
That's the first step, is to
Okay.
just do it. Contact the broker. You're not going to know what to say, but just say, I'm interested in buying this business.
Yeah.
And then your job is to be able to speak to the seller and build a rapport. And then from there, either the bank or creative financing.
And how many businesses did you offer on before you got your first one?
The first one? No, we bought the first one that was our first
So
try.
like that was, you like Googled, called the broker after combing through a bunch of businesses.
Yeah, so the first one, I think it was just a proof of concept. We got lucky. But then from the second one, we contacted multiple businesses after that.
Okay.
And we just realized not all deals are going to
Be good.
be good, or not all deals going to turn out to close. Like we're not going to be successful in all the deals that we try to buy. And some people who contact me for that, and they get so bummed because they feel so bummed because they can't close the deal. I'm like, look, you just it's just a number game, right? It's the number game. Just keep doing it, and then eventually you'll find one that works for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for jumping on. And your story is amazing, inspiring, really fun. And I can't wait to see what's next for you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.